This is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me today on this particular webcast that's going to describe some of the relationships and how we build a relationship between us, the salesperson, and our customers. What are the key items? What is it that they think about, that they're looking for? And it's interesting to look at this because when you start to examine what it is that people are thinking about, what it is that they're trying to accomplish, then all of a sudden you understand what their thinking is. And this, I think, is very important. Years ago, I developed this concept. I've been working with it ever since, and inevitably, it works for everybody who is, in fact, talking about sales. So let's look at this, and let's make sure we understand how this works. If you look at it from this point of view, what you realize is that there are definitely things that people look for when they're deciding who they're going to buy from. And if you examine this from just a strategic point of view, that is, you don't have to look at it and analyze it to death, but just look at it from the customer-centric sales approach, the way I've outlined it here, you start to realize that it's not as difficult as it appears to be. There are certain things that we all want to have. First of all said and done, we want to be comfortable with our buying decision. We want to make sure that what we're doing is right. It's going to be right for us, not for you, the seller, but right for us. So we want to make sure that there are certain things that we're doing that are going to help them accomplish their goals. And this, I think, is very important. So let's look here just for a second at a couple of these things. If you're down here as a commodity, and I mark it down here so you can see it, it's a commodity. Now, what does a commodity mean? Well, virtually everything that you sell is a commodity. The reality is you're not selling anything that unique. It can't be. For example, simply put, a pencil is a pencil is a pencil. I happen to use pencils, and every pencil I have has the same basic thing. It has an eraser. It has a piece of carbon inside, and it's got some wood around it. It's the same thing. It allows me to write. So therefore, the pencil is the pencil is the pencil. No genius there. But if you say to yourself, well, you see, I don't work that way. I'm selling computers. Well, honestly, all your computers are a commodity. Basically the same price. Basically does the same thing. It's got to deliver a message. Years ago, I helped companies sell faxes. Now, for some of you, you may not realize, but when the fax was first introduced, it was an actual leased product. In other words, it was expensive. And companies like I worked for, training at that time, companies literally went ahead and they taught their salespeople how to teach their customers that they were seeing why you needed a special line. That is a telephone line, telephone line for the fax. And the reason for that was that your phone line was clear and distinct, and the fax was expensive, and you didn't want it to get lost. So you went and you bought or you rented, leased this specific line, this specific telephone line. Well, that was a sale. I remember being in Tehachapi, California, teaching this to 40 people. And how to approach somebody on that. So when you look at it from this point of view, and if you say to me that what you're doing is just what everybody else is doing, there's no way that you're not a commodity. A telephone is a commodity. Your phone today is a commodity. Yes, I know you've got an iPhone and you've got an iPhone 10,000, but it still does the same thing. So it's got to be a commodity. So the question is, how are you selling against that? And one of the things that I talk about all the time is how do you differentiate yourself from a commodity? Honestly, most people do it by price, or they use another technique, which I'm going to tell you right now. What they say typically is when somebody says, well, you know, it's the same thing, they say, no, we're different. And of course, the person says, well, how are you different? Why are you different? And the person says, because we have great service. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Everybody says we have great service. Everybody says it. Therefore, that's the commodity too. You can't simply say to somebody, we have great service, because everybody has great service. So disregard that. That is not going to work for you, because that has become a commodity too. Now, let's go to the next line, because I think this is important. If you look at it from this line, you go right here, we go to our products and features. Well, the fact of the matter is most products are functionality. They work, the service, the application fits. After all, you wouldn't design an air conditioning unit for an air conditioning unit, would you? That makes no sense. You wouldn't have two air conditioning units, cooling off air conditioning units. Doesn't make sense. So therefore, when you sell something to somebody, you're selling something that you believe is right for them, that will help them. It fits, but so does everybody else. But you'll notice that the customer's decision is based on price and features. Competition is still a threat at this point. You see, this is a triangle. Do you realize this is a triangle here? What I'm trying to do is illustrate to you that this is really just a big triangle here. That's all it is. So that what we're doing is we're just saying, hey, listen, commodity is the lowest symbol thing you can be. You can be commodity. And your competitor is there all the time. They're on your back all the time. When you are products and features selling, and many of you do that, oh, let me tell you our product, let me tell you our features, let me tell you our benefits. What happens inevitably is you still are competitively threatened. Now, look at this. And I want you to see this because I think this is important. As a leader, if you're seen as a leader, meaning future decision with solid customer service and reliability, what's happening is if you're the company that says, I lead, I've done this, and we have created this, you are in fact a leader. You're in a better position. The customer narrows the field of competitors. All of a sudden, you as a leader are in the forefront of having the opportunity to sell. But let's not kid ourselves. You know, there's going to be somebody else behind you. There always is somebody nipping at your heels, trying to get the business away from you. Because right now, you may be the number one leader in your business, and yet there's 12 other people wanting to do the same thing. Therefore, you've got to take a look and say to yourself, can you be a strategic supplier? We help businesses do more businesses by helping customers fulfill their objective. We begin to differentiate ourselves in this particular category. When you and I can say to somebody, we are the strategic supplier. We understand what your business is. We understand what it is you're trying to accomplish. Then we're in a much better position than if we were down here, or down here. As a strategic supplier, we are in the mainstream. But not enough, is it? Because ultimately, we want to make the sale. I want you to look at this line here. Don't worry about the triangle. Strategic relationships. You match the vision of the company you're selling to. You have the same values, the mission, and the ethics. Your position sets you apart from your competition and makes the relationship difficult to duplicate. This right here, all of this is crucial for you to have. You need to be the strategic relationship seller. If you can't say that, if you can't say this is what you're doing, this is who you are, the odds are you're down below someplace and you're not getting the business. So you have to think about this. You have to say to yourselves, what is it that I have to do in order to generate that strategic relationship? And here's the answer. The answer is by asking people what they do, how they do it, when they do it, where they do it, who they do it with, why they're doing it that way. And your job, simply put, is to help them do it better. When you can say to somebody, I can help you do that better, you win. When you can say to somebody, I understand what you're trying to accomplish, and I think I can help you do that, you win. But it's all about helping people get to their goals, not to your goals. Not to your goals. The fact of the matter is, when you help somebody accomplish their goal, that is what they want to do, whether it's in business or their personal life, you both win. That's what you want. You both win. So I want you to think about this, and I want you to think about how do you create the strategic relationship that we've been talking about. What is it that you could do differently? Somebody once said to me, Steve, when you walk out of a sales call, what do you say? I usually say goodbye. He said, don't ever say that again. Say instead to that person that's just bought from you, Mr. Buyer, if there's anything at all that I could ever help you with, please let me know. I'll do it, no matter what it is. I will help you because that's my job. That's what I want to do. I want to help you. When you want to help somebody accomplish their job, it's not work. It's not work for you. It's helping people, which is what I want you to remember. Help people. Please reach out to me. You can reach me at steveschiffman.com on the web, on LinkedIn, Facebook. Let me know what you're thinking about. And if you write me a note, email it, letter, I don't care how you do a telephone, and you say, hey, listen, I heard you talk about centric sales, customer-centric sales, I'll send you a free book. I will send you a free book. All right, so this is Steve Schiffman. I want to thank you very much for joining me. I hope to see you again. And as always, you honor me by your presence.